Okay, that's a notification for us. We like to see that. We do indeed like to see the notifications. We are very happy to see them. Hello, everybody. I know you know I'm live. My notifications went out. I'm just adjusting for visibility here. Okay, that's good. We got a great show today, man. We got some video we're gonna watch, and I'm gonna discuss really some interesting stuff here. Nick, hey. Sean, hello. I don't know why the chat is not working audio-wise. Maybe it's my default output. Well, the default output is the real text, so it should be right. Right? Unless I change what the default output is. That says Realtek. I mean, I could try. No. Sound is on. I don't know, man. I don't know why it won't work. I could try another browser window, I guess, for the chat. Let's try that. Maybe we'll get lucky. All right, someone give it a shot. Give it a spin. Spin the wheel. Give it a chat there. Let's see if we get something.
Hoot and Howl. Morning all.
Good morning, Hoot and Howl. There we go. We got our voice back. Nick, Billy Bong Thornton, haven't seen you. Good to see you. Sean, great to see you. Nick, of course. Okay,
Spin that wheel.
Spin the wheel. Doing
Billy Bong
stuff.
Thornton. You guys see the new Twitter logo? It's AX now. When you get tweet notifications, it shows up as AX.
Billy Bong's so funny.
Dabs 4 days.
Have you been in a coma for like a week,
Good
bro?
morning, Nick.
Yeah, we've all know that Twitter's changed its
Sean
name
the
to
Orca
X, and
guy.
it's dumb. We don't even talk about
Hell
it.
yeah, right on. Nay sounds excellent.
Okay, great. I got a video for you. Robin Minotti claims that the whole getting hot outside is not really happening. This is not the hottest July on record, according to Robin Minotti. Wait till I tell you what Robin Minotti's qualifications are here. Okay, Robin Minotti knows what he's talking about when it comes to weather and heat and the way temperatures are taken and global climate and feedback loops and hottest Julys on record and all that. Because are you ready for this? He's an architect. He's a freaking architect. He has no experience in weather and climate and temperatures and any of that. He's got a Twitter feed, and he's Italian, and he's an architect. But I digress, because watch, now that you know who Robin Minotti is, he's some architect, anti-lockdown guy. You know, lockdowns work. You know, if a guy's in prison in another state, and he has some disease, I can't catch it, because he's locked down and he's far away from me. That's how it works. And you can find how short that distance could be with science, and it'll still work at that shortest distance. You know, I could be outside the prison. I'm still not going to catch it. Why? Because he's locked down. I could go into the visitors area of the prison. I'm still not going to catch it. Why? Because he's locked down in a cell. Lockdowns do work. That's how they work. They separate you from me. They separate your disease from me. Understand, of course lockdowns work. It's science, right? I can prove it. I just did. All of you guys are understanding that lockdowns do work. This guy's anti-lockdown. Okay, now I'm anti-taking your rights away from you, of course, but I'm pro-science. And I'm going to say, the lockdown itself, yeah, that's a bad thing, and you don't want to do that. It goes against your civil rights and all that shit, the government telling you what to do, and I know that's bad. But as far as a scientific legitimacy goes, someone saying that lockdowns just don't work, well, you just didn't do them right. That's all. They do work. If I lock you down and lock you away from everybody else, you're not going to be able to transmit. You see how that works? It's nice, isn't it? Let me turn my fan on a second. I'm getting a little hot. He passed it. He passed it. You just got the upgrade last night. Oh, Billy Bung. He's passed it. Holly, I don't know what you mean by that. That just seems like a random statement. Anyway. Here we go.
Sean the Orca guy. Man, the global lockdown felt like a horror movie, but it works. Nailed it.
Well, science is science, and we're not going to deny. I mean, even if you don't like something, you can't deny the science behind it if it works. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's not going to work. Like the Jimmy hates and he claims they don't work, but at the same time they do work, and there's plenty of science to prove that they worked and they saved millions of lives. So,
Holly Horn. I was talking about Jimmy.
Oh, he's past.
He's cray-cray.
Oh, he's past his expiration. Yeah. He's flipped his lid. And those of you that listen to me, that watch the show, and that have at times watched Jimmy. Go on. You're coming in. That's it. I'm watching this hawk outside eating moles. It's so cool. Those people who watch Jimmy and have watched me, you guys
Sean the Orca guy.
Understand.
Science doesn't care about feelings. Nature can be cruel at times.
That I'm the greatest thing to ever happen to the Jimmy Dore show since they went live on the internet. I'm the greatest thing to ever happen, because what I'm that guy that was a huge fan that used to watch them, that started hearing the lies seeping out, that now exposes them for the fucking
Billy
cunts that they are.
I don't watch Jimmy Dore anymore. He's kind of
well,
boring.
Being lied to gets boring over time too, right, Billy Bong? I agree. He's a fucking liar, and that's why I don't listen to him anymore. But I digress. I want you guys to watch this video with me. Watch this. I think you're gonna like it.
So you remember last week they were talking about it's the hottest in the world. It was the hottest. Everybody's over.
Last week?
Or was it? When was it? It was just a couple days ago. They were saying it's the hottest in the world. The whole world's hotter than it's ever been. It's hot everywhere.
Is this different than the last time, not long ago, when they were measuring an air?
Yeah, it is different. It is different, Kurt. And yeah, they did say that. They did say that because it's true. And if you guys go outside and experience the heat yourselves like I did yesterday, you'll understand that it's true. You will sweat more than you've ever sweat in your entire life. You will be hotter than you've ever been. You'll feel exhausted when you get back in from working outside. You'll drink more water than you've ever had in your entire life. Okay? Jimmy needs to go outside with Kurt, get a little sun, and figure this out for themselves like the rest of the world already has. But they sit in that air-conditioned garage, and they have no idea what's going on around them with their heads up each other's asses, trying to smell what the other one had for breakfast the day before. I digress.
Billy Bong Thornton.
Wait for it.
Felt like 103 here in Michigan yesterday.
All
Horrible.
of you are now educated on the Italian architect, Robin Minotti. Y'all know who he is now, right? He's an architect from Italy. He knows nothing about the weather. Watch and wait for this. The architect is going to speak.
Airstrip where jets were taking off. Is this like a new thing of that?
This is like that.
Okay.
So he says the most intense. This guy tweets out. He says the most intense climate lie last week, Kurt.
It's hot as
it
balls
was all
here.
over the news. Temperatures in southern Europe skyrocketing to 48 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, this guy, the mealy mouth Jimmy Dore, is all fucking whacked out on goddamn lithium or whatever they fucking got him on. I can only talk like this now, man. Oh, by the way, yeah, the one dude who's an architect in Italy said this in a tweet, so it must be gospel.
The Federal Reserve raised interest rates.
My bad. Sorry about that.
surface temperature is how hot the surface of the Earth feels to the touch. Air temperatures, given in our daily weather forecasts, is a measure of how hot the air is above the ground.
Right.
The ESA did not bother to mention how the surface temperature is much hotter than the 2-meter air temperature.
Right.
So what everybody was screaming about last week
Right.
was some report that didn't take the air temperature,
Some report?
but took the ground temperature.
No, it's not what everybody was screaming about last week, Jimmy. You're looking at one report. We're watching all the other reports and all the news and going outside ourselves and experiencing it anecdotally by ourselves and seeing that it's hot. Oh, and there's that report that the 10 German Shepherds died in the back of a transportation truck because there was no AC in that truck, and it's so hot outside that it literally killed 10 dogs in a truck. It cooked them to death. When's the last time you heard a story like that in the news, guys? You're going to hear a lot more stories like that coming up, too. And Jimmy is in complete denial about all of it. Complete freaking denial. He can't see this. He can't see the forest through the trees. Right? And it's right in front of his face. We're going to talk about the UFO hearing, too, after this, guys, so stick around. That bullshit UFO bullshit hearing. But I digress. This tweet was written by an Italian architect that has no understanding of weather or taking temperatures or
Billy
global
Von
climate
Thornton.
at all. He's an
Good content
anti-lockdown guy. Yeah, he's against what I told you is that when a guy's in prison and has a disease and I'm outside the prison, I can't catch that disease because of lockdown. He says that lockdown doesn't work. Well, the science behind it absolutely does work. If you do it right. The problem is cunts like Jimmy Dore didn't want to adhere to it. They wanted to run around and go do their little fucking comedy routines and shit like that. I gotta go to the gymnasium and go wipe my sweat off a fucking workout machine with other people and smell their body odor. You are the motherfuckers that kept this shit going. People like me that stayed home, we were so instrumental in knocking this shit back while you fucking cunts had to go run and live your lives and be free. Well, I hope it was worth it for all of you who fucking ended up getting sick and dying from it, or passing it on to your children, or passing it on to some elderly people that you may have loved and they're no longer with you. Fuck you. Lockdowns work. This idiot that wrote this article was anti-lockdown, so he's already anti-science. Understand, he thinks he's figured out this whole thing about, temperature differential between global temperature, between 2 meters above the earth and the ground temperature. And they only use the ground temperatures and they made it seem hotter than it really was.
That's not what they
This
normally do
one
with a
study,
weather forecast.
this one study,
Weather forecasts take
it
the air
represents
temperature.
everything.
So we've always heard that. I know when I watch football games and they play on artificial turf, they'll go, it's 95 degrees, but on the turf, it feels like 120. They'll say that all the
Hollyward.
time. Or they
Same
used
in
to
NYC.
anyway. I think they're
Billy
getting rid
Bob.
of AstroTurf because it heats up too much. And so the AstroTurf way hotter than the air above the AstroTurf. And so they released
So here's the problem.
the ground.
Were they not releasing the ground temperatures in all the years before, Jimmy? Oh, that's right, they
Sean the
were.
Orca guy.
They were.
Jimmy Dore wants people to die so he doesn't have to admit how selfish as fucks he is, and he will say anything for money.
Well, unfortunately, people like me aren't going to die, and we're always going to be speaking out against him. I will always be here speaking out. As long as he is lying to people like me that used to be in his audience, I will pull them out, and I will say, you can be like me, and you don't have to be lied to anymore. You can adhere to the truth. You can adhere to the science and the data and the facts, and you don't have to let some architect in Italy determine what you're going to do, how you're going to raise your children, or where you're going to decide to live or work because, you thought that the whole thing was a fucking hoax because you listened to Jimmy Dore. I'm here to save your life. He's here to fucking murder you. I'm here to save your life. Does anybody deny that this is the hottest July on record ever in the history of the planet? Does anyone have any denial about that? Because I got news for you. It is. It's the hottest July on record. And every year from now on will be the hottest year on record. And one of the hottest 10 years on record. It's not going to stop. You understand how that works? Yeah, there might be one that's not quite the hottest but the one after that will be, or maybe not that one, but the one after that will be. And those top 10 will always be the top 10 and always be the last 10 years. You guys understand that?
Billy Bong Thornton. No denial here, FING humid as hell.
Right? Dude, I'm telling you, it is so uncomfortable. And I've been in this house for a year and a half. So I was here last year this time. It was not this bad. It's worse this year than it was last year. I promise you guys that. We've got 3 air conditionings in this house. Okay? I'm in a place right here in this house where I'm in between all 3 of them. The main conditioner's right in front of me. The one on to my left is on the far side of the house. The one to my right is over here. They're all cooling this whole
Dabs
area.
4 days.
I feel like I'm sitting in
I bet
water
the
right
air
now.
conditioning bill is double from last year.
The AC
Sean the Orca
is so
guy.
expensive.
Raise your fists in solidarity with Trendy Nay speaking truth to power unlike the lying Jimmy Dore.
Thank you. I agree with you, Sean. Thank you, buddy. Here, listen to him quote this architect like he's some kind of a scientist.
Temperature, because they knew that would scare the hell out of people more, Kurt.
Well, that's how you
Because
give
I knew
people a
that would
nudge.
scare the hell out of people, Kurt. Now I can't open my mouth because
With
my
intense
lithium
fear
pills are keeping
always.
my dick soft
So,
and my lips from opening up all the
The
way.
hysteria was started when climate
The hysteria
sensationalist
was started.
media outlets in Germany and elsewhere
Walked
like
outside
the
I love when he's being his little
Yesterday,
smart
it was
ass, when he
super
plays his little
excited.
smart ass,
Manipulative
told you so fucking character.
manipulatively formulated July 13th report from the European Space Agency, the ESA, that first referred to air temperature. You know what? And by the way, do you know in German Spiegel means mirror?
Yeah.
But I guess it's like one of those trick slim down mirrors they have at the Lane Bryant. That's what
This
I
is
think.
all from Robin Minotti.
So here's what they said. Temperatures are, this is from the Spiegel. Temperatures are sizzling across Europe this week amid an intense and prolonged period of heat. And it's only just begun. Italy, Spain, France, Germany, and Poland are all facing major heat wave with air temperatures expected to climb to 48 degrees Celsius.
Dude, get off
on
the goddamn
islands of
antidepressants,
Sicily
you
and
depressed
Sardinia.
piece of shit,
Potentially
Jimmy.
the hottest temperatures ever recorded in Europe.
What are the fucking drugs you're on?
The original
Cannabis
ESA
doesn't do that
report
to your mouth.
continued, only later specifying that it was in fact referring to surface temperature, not air temperature. The animation below uses data from the Copernicus Sentinel-3 mission's radiometer instrument and shows that land surface temperature across Italy between 9 and 10 of July, as image clearly shows, in some cities, the surface of land exceeded 45 degrees Celsius, including Rome, Naples, Taranto, and Foggia. Along the east slopes of Mount Etna and Sicily, many temperatures were recorded at over 50 degrees Celsius, but that's the land temperature. That's not the air temperature.
And if you go to the
So
air
they weren't-
temperature,
I mean,
still
maybe
hottest
I missed it.
month,
They were not in
hottest
any way
July on
saying
record,
this is
Jimmy.
the hottest land temperature. They're purposely conflating it with the air temperature.
That's what it looks like to me.
Are you
Kurt.
telling me it's not the hottest July on record,
Sean the
Jimmy?
Orca guy.
Meant here
Perfect twister
were not
weather
the
here. Tornado
standard
watches are
temperatures
so common we
recorded
don't
at
get
2
alarmed.
meters above the ground level that we always hear in daily weather reports, which are much cooler, but rather those right at the ground surface.
Okay.
The crucial difference went totally unnoticed by media and journalists who reported of new record high temperatures. By the time the ploy was exposed by careful readers, the news had already gone around the world.
As the hottest.
Yeah, so has the
winner of
heat.
so they
The heat's already
transitioned
gone around the
number
world
that
too,
then
Jimmy. So is the
biological
humidity.
numbers to become the,
Yeah.
the hottest.
It's like because this. Okay,
So
let's
it's
just
like
let's
that
just
old-
give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say the report is bunk from a bunch of bunk scientists that were trying to get our get us all scared and shit. Okay, fine. Are you denying that this is not the hottest July on record, Jimmy? Are you denying this? Are you denying that right there, Jimmy? I don't know. Is that from the AES or whatever the hell, the space agency? No, that's from the Copernicus Climate Change Service. There you go. It's right here, guys. See this down here? The source is the Copernicus Climate Change Service. So this is something completely different. This is reading all the way from 1940 to 2023. And look where we are in 2023, guys.
Yosef Basha. Yo, what's up, Nays?
$44, $71, $35, $30, $20, $15, $19.71. So, I mean, if you understand how graphs work, this kind of looks bad to me. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. I don't think Jimmy has the ability to, whenever he's trying to run his narrative, to, fact check himself. He is so hell-bent on getting you his narrative, his lie, that he's just got these massive, huge Hey, Yosef, what's up, buddy? Got these massive fucking blinders on. But this is a bombshell from the architect from Italy, everybody. It's not getting hotter outside.
Saying that a lie can make its way around the world before the truth gets its pants on.
Right, Jimmy? Just like your show always lies to people and goes around the world before. Yeah. You're the fucking expert, Jimmy. You should know.
Well, yeah, if you own
fucking
if you own
liars.
the media.
That's right. Yesterday,
I'd like to cage
the
match
ESA
Jimmy and just
issued
beat the
a
shit out of
vague
him.
clarification explaining the difference between surface and air temperatures at
Jimmy
2
and I should
meters
fight.
above ground, yet continue to mislead.
Jimmy and I should get in a
Land
ring and
surface
fight each
temperature
other.
is how hot the surface
That's,
of the
I think
Earth
it's the
feels
only
to
way him
touch.
and I can solve our
Air
differences.
temperature given in our daily weather forecast is a
Stephen
measure
Ryan.
of how hot the air is
Boulder.
above the ground. The ESA did not bother to mention how the surface temperature is much hotter than the 2-meter air temperature.
Okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'll go. It's really weird for a science agency to all of a sudden change the way they take temperatures. I find that like it's probably a lie, and I'm not going to subscribe to it. But let's just say that Mr. Architect from Italy is correct, and that's true. And they switch the kind of temperatures they're doing. Okay, it was a bunk study. You going to go outside and check for yourself, Jimmy? Are you going to leave your dog chained up outside without any water and see how long he survives for? Why don't you put Brownie out there in a doghouse and see how long he lives for? Yeah. Why don't you and your wife go sit by the pool for an hour and don't bring any water or iced tea with you? And see how long you can last in the sun. And turn your air conditioning off in your house, Jimmy. See how long that lasts. Let us know, man. Let us know at 3 o'clock in the afternoon how you're feeling. So, I'll go ahead and I'll admit right now, I may have been wrong before when I said, they've always been using the same technology to check
Billy
the
Bob
temperature.
Thornton.
Why would they change it?
Is there any chance you and Jimbo could become
Maybe
friends
I was
again?
wrong
Ha,
about
ha,
that
ha.
one thing, and they did do this to make it more scary or whatever. I'll give you that. But you cannot deny that this is the hottest July on record, no matter what study you look at. The global average temperature is rising, Jimmy, and you act like it's not rising, man. It's fucking psychotic. And then you got little ball licker Kurt Metzger next to you licking your fucking salt off your balls. Trying to make everybody, trying to double down on every fucking thing you say without fact-checking anything you say. But I digress. I'm going to give Jimmy and dumbass bald motherfucker that 1 point, okay? And I'll say, okay, fine. Let's say this one study is lying, but guess what? It's still getting fucking hotter outside, Jimmy. And just because one study has it wrong doesn't mean it's not getting fucking hotter every year, dude. You fucking weirdo. What is wrong with you? What's your fucking game, Jimmy? I'm just kind of curious. What is your end game here? What's the rub? I want to understand what's the benefit of you lying to your audience about this. You find one study that might have a problem with it. Let's say it does. Like I said, I'm going to give them the point. I'll admit it if I'm wrong about it. I don't know yet, but I'll admit it if I'm wrong about it. Okay? You got my retraction. Okay? Are you still going to say it's not hot outside? Are you still going to say it's not getting hotter outside? Are you going to still say that this isn't caused by what we're doing here on the planet? Are you still going to say lockdowns don't work, Jimmy? Because you don't know how to do a fucking lockdown? Because you don't know what fucking lockdown means. You don't understand lockdown. Lockdown, you're crying about lockdown. Oh, they lock us down and take our freedoms away from us. Oh, I can't go out on stage and entertain and do my thing. Really? Were you ever locked down at all, Jimmy? Did you ever really lock down? Did you stay locked down for 30 days? Did you stay in your house for 30 days and not leave? If every single human being on the planet had done that, we wouldn't have had COVID. We would have beat that motherfucker. It would have only taken 1 month, a full-on worldwide ban on leaving your fucking home for 30 days. I remember, man. I remember when we talked about it. I was like, dude, it would have worked if we had done it right. It would have just been 30 days. Yeah, it would have sucked, but we would have gotten over it. We would have beat this motherfucker. No, your freedoms are more important. Okay, fine. Grandma and Grandpa can die of fucking COVID. You never gave a fuck about them anyway. And all you want is the goddamn, whatever you get from their wills. Whatever. You never loved Grandma and Grandpa to begin with.
So, let's
James
just cut to
Simon.
the shit.
Then again, I read somewhere that deep
Let's cut
Earth
the
core
shit.
drilling
Look,
in the poles showed
I
the Earth has
rarely-
been hotter, but it was
Look.
millions of years ago. When the poles shifted. Mike Pasquarello.
Ice.
Good morning, man.
Good morning, Iceman. I've missed you so much. Good to see you. I rarely do the show with the fan on because of the noise. But I'm telling you, I've got the fan on now because it's so fucking hot, man. Go back last year, this day. Go on this day, July 29th. Last year. Go find my July 29th and see if I had to do the show with the fan on the whole time. I doubt it. Let's keep going. I know what's coming next.
Thank you.
So, somebody put this together. I saw this on Twitter. So here in 2017, same temperatures. We're all green now. Look, they're trying. So the implication here is they're trying to scare the
Stephen
hell out of.
That's fair. That's fair.
Viewers must be goal.
That's fucking fair. They're actually higher, way higher temperatures. From back then. So he makes a good point right here. This is a really good point. If this is true, those temperatures in the lower picture are actually lower, and they're showing it as orange. They're showing looks like the whole world's on fire. So he does make a good point. But when morons like this do this, it gives morons like this the opportunity to act like it's not real. So I'll give him that too. I'll give him that point that that's hyperbolic bullshit. If that's real. But it's very possible, guys, very possible that that's a photoshopped image, and every single number that you see right there was just photoshopped over the other numbers. Very possible. It's also possible that the numbers that you see above, hey man, I just realized something. That's not a climate map above. It's a geographic map. It doesn't show differential. I'll let you guys see it. I think it's photoshopped, guys. I think it's totally photoshopped. Look. Look. There's no variances in the colors. Oh, I can't see my mouse. I don't know why. That's weird. Anyway, in the green part, there's no variances in the colors. On the orange, you'll see there's yellow, there's orange, there's red, there's bright yellow. Right? So these are two different kinds of maps, Jimmy. I wouldn't expect you to be able to look at something like that and figure it out on your own because you're a fucking idiot. And Kurt Metzger is another fucking idiot. And your wife is a fucking idiot too because she sits there with her thumb up her ass and doesn't correct you whenever you do stupid shit like this. The three of you are a bunch of fucking idiots. Okay? I, in the matter of a few seconds, looked at those two maps and was able to figure out that one is a geographic map and the other one is a climate-based map. They're two totally different things. Man, those numbers up there above could have been photoshopped in. They could have been anything. And the numbers below could have been photoshopped in too. I have no idea what I'm looking at there. Also, the dates could have been fudged. You know, no idea what I'm fucking looking at there. There's no evidence to back up this meme. But if somebody finds out anything about this picture that we're looking at here, let me know. My suspicion is that it's a fake photo. I think it's been photoshopped. But Jimmy is going to use this as evidence and act like this is gospel without any checking it, without any fact checking whatsoever. All right, let's keep going. We still got some time left on this.
We're climate change, and they're using climate change to control you, to get you to not eat meat anymore or organic food.
Okay, they are using climate change to control you. So let me ask you this: do you think that the Biden administration or the people in charge or the elites are going to the weather stations and talking to the climate people and the climate scientists and telling them, this is how we want you to portray this? We're not going to give you a government grant unless you say it's getting hotter and make your maps bright orange. You know what? I don't believe it. I don't think that the goddamn government has time to meddle with that bullshit. But Jimmy says, this is what they want. They want you to eat insects. They don't want you eating meat anymore. And this is how they control you. Oh, God. Okay, Jimmy, I got your fucking narrative line.
To get you so they can control your food supply, so they can control your digital
okay,
currency,
Mr.
the way you
Conspiracy
travel.
Nut.
So they're
fucking nut job.
It seems to me
you're a nut job.
The establishment wants to scare us about climate change so they can use it to screw us over in certain ways. And that's what it seems like to me. Now, I wish my friend, who's a climate, what do you call what are weathermen called? They're called meteorologists.
Meteorologists, yeah.
Weathermen.
And he knows a lot more about this stuff than me. I invited him on the show. He couldn't make it, so I'd like to get him to push back. So,
who, Chris Mars
I would
Weather?
like someone to push back on this story.
Mm-hmm. With an explanation, and I won't even dig.
Oh, you want someone to push back on this story with an explanation? Go check out Thunderfoot, Jimmy. All right, you want someone to push back on this without an explanation on your stupid explanation? I don't know what he tried to say. Go watch the news. Go read why don't you read the article to your audience about the 10 German Shepherds that died yesterday in a truck? Why don't you read the news to your audience about all the people around the world right now that are suffering and dying from heat exposure? He seems so helpless. Oh, the only person I can get any of this information from is Robin from Twitter. Robin, the architect from Italy. That's my expert. Really? I wouldn't trust him to build a fucking doghouse. That fucking architect.
Magnify that.
Right. So, because what I say is that I was 100% on board with climate change and everything the establishment said about climate change and what we needed to do until COVID.
Until COVID. I stopped believing in climate change because of COVID.
So they can lie right to your face and ubiquitously.
Oh, the government lies? You're kidding me, Jimmy.
To the head of the FDA.
Wow, it's a good thing you discovered that from COVID.
Every news
It's a good thing that it was COVID that made you realize the government lies to us, Jimmy. Wow, it took you that long, really?
Everyone.
What an idiot.
Ubiquitously
it's not even a true statement. It was COVID that made me realize the government lies to us.
The biggest things in your life. And
okay.
So then, also after Russiagate.
Fucking right.
Now you see that Russiagate it's revealed from the Durham report that Russiagate was a hoax, 100% made up by the FBI and the
James Simon.
Clinton campaign.
Well, common sense tells people that drilling oil from the earth and water from the earth and cutting all the trees that absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, building these black roads which absorb heat. It's more about overpopulation, and no one wants to say that word overpopulation. They're all scared of genocide.
Hey, James Simon, how's it going, buddy?
They can pull that off. They can pull off Russiagate and make people think that everybody still thinks that Russia overthrew our election, including my brother. What do you want to say, Kurt?
Oh, your brothers, everybody?
Because I believe that I was like, there's
Russiagate.
No, not Russiagate. No,
climate change.
Yeah, there's not two sides of this. All the science says it's happening.
I was the same way.
So I guess around the time when I found out that carbon footprint thing was from.
I mean, are you guys not like doing the whole anecdotal thing and just going outside and looking at the temperature, or going outside and feeling what it feels like outside? You guys are idiots. You just stay in your air-conditioned cars and your air-conditioned homes, and you stay in a complete state of denial. No law regarding cannabis. Cheers, Iceman, everybody else that's here. Dabs up, son.
When I was like, hey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what? You're gonna lecture me about an oil company?
He's gonna lecture about your carbon footprint. That's what you're saying.
I used to smoke Marlboro. They never had the balls to lecture me about my tar footprint.
So started to notice this when, Bill Gates he says
Guten
that
Tag.
we have to eat bugs
Cheers.
and we have to change our life, but he still flies around on private jets. And he said, well, I buy carbon offsets. Well, if you thought jet travel and stuff was actually making us have climate change, you would stop doing that, no matter how, and you would just go ahead and buy all kind of carbon off. You wouldn't still fly around in a private jet.
Can I just to be fair to Bill Gates, he does.
No, I'm going to make a comment about that. Bill Gates don't give a fuck about you, Jimmy. He doesn't give a fuck about the planet. And just because he continues to fly around in jets and eat rich and do all that shit doesn't mean that he doesn't subscribe to the narrative that it's getting hotter outside. He knows he's contributing to it. He's smart, He's way smarter than you'll ever be. He listens to science, man. He understands that there's studies that are done and there's facts and there's way to prove what's stated. You take the word of a architect in Italy for your science and your fact checking. An architect, Jimmy. Is that where you got your lockdown science from too? From the architect? Is that where you start following that moron?
Yes, he does.
You realize you're talking about an architect, Jimmy?
It's like
not a science person.
I keep the faucet going in my bathtub 24/7, but I buy water. I buy water offsets.
I light big forest fires every year, but then
I buy. You don't have. But the point is, you don't have to fly around the world in a private jet.
Right. None of that.
None
of that proves that you don't believe in the science, Jimmy. It just proves that you're an asshole. And I'm talking about Bill Gates. He's an asshole. It doesn't mean he doesn't believe the fucking science, you dumbass. You just came to the conclusion that he doesn't believe the science because the way he acts. God, you're an idiot. Oh yeah, everybody has to think like me. Right, Jimmy?
So that's my big point. I see all these people, and the first thing they want to do to fight climate change is shut down Dutch farms. Now they're shutting down German farms, killing 200,000 cows.
Yeah, that's not weird.
What? And that is weird. Yeah, I know, right? And so the biggest emitter of carbon in the world is the U.S. military. We have 1,000 military bases around the world. They say 800, but a lot of them are secret. So let's go with 800. Nobody is proposing they shut down 600 or 700 of those military bases.
I am.
Those are the biggest climate emitters.
Hey, let me know right now.
Proposing that.
Hey.
In Florida and Daytona Beach, they said ocean temps was 100 Ds. Some areas killing off marine life.
Thank you for bringing that, James. Thank you for bringing that to the table. I wanted to mention that too. So Jimmy Dore is talking about surface temperature versus 2 meters above the ground temperature, and saying that the science always used to cover the higher temperature in the higher altitude temperature, which was a lower degree than ground temperature, and to make things more hyperbolic, they switched their science. Now they're going to go with ground temperature instead of 2 meters up. But you know what? They should always be doing ground temperature anyways, the way I see it, because that's where the plants and the insect life is. That's where animals are. 2 meters up. That's not where we are. Dude, we're down here. We're on the ground. Our feet are touching the ground. If your feet are touching the ground, if you're a dog and your feet are touching the ground, if you're an insect and your feet are touching the ground, that's going to make you way hotter. We're not floating. We're not all birds flying around the planet at 2 meters. That doesn't even make sense. Now, of course you should be taking surface temperatures. The fact that they just switched it, I'd have to go see that and go research it for myself and see why they fucking did it. But at the same time, if from now on they're going to just do those temperatures, then you can just subtract the difference. Jimmy, did you do that? Did you bother to subtract the difference? It's so simple to do. You can go back, you can see what the difference is between 2 meter and ground. Let's say it's negative 6 degrees difference. Let's say it's negative 12 degrees difference. Whatever the difference. And then you can go back through all of the temperatures that they've taken and subtract 12 degrees from every single one of those, and you'll see the temperature's still rising, you fucking dumb dick. Let's get into the ocean. This is a fantastic point. So the ocean temperatures are rising too. And they're not going down to the bottom of the ocean and taking the goddamn ocean floor. They're taking the surface ocean temperatures where the fish are swimming.
MCAT walk my dogs, it burns their feet on the sidewalks. I didn't realize it was that hot to burn my dog's feet till I went barefooted.
Yes.
I now have blisters on my feet.
And your dog's feet are hurting them too. Your dog should be walking in the shade. My dog walks for the shade out here. When we're walking out in the street, he will literally run to the shade and get on the street because his feet will start burning him. You know, I've seen it. I try to keep him out of that shit. So, you know, everybody needs to be conscious about that. Now, yes, your dog's feet are burning on the pavement. Go try to walk around yourselves. They have feelings too. The temperatures of the ocean are rising as well, Jimmy. I suggest you look at that, you fucking closed-minded moron. Go look at it, Jimmy, you fucking dumb dick. Go look at the earth, at the ocean temperatures and the acidification of the coral reefs off the state of Florida, right? And the fact that it's too hot for the coral to survive, okay? Look at that. And tell me, what does that have to do with ground temperature and 2-meter temperature? Oh, that's right, absolutely nothing, Jimmy. But you're too much of a fucking idiot. Your poor audience suffers so much because you just can't think outside your fucking narrative box. My point is this, man. YouTube gives this guy all the attention and all the views. And it's like there's no one there at YouTube that's actually watching him and going, what are we doing? You know, we got this guy, Trending A, that he's been here for years too, and we have him totally bottlenecked. He's the only one calling this fucking dumb cunt out. We should be promoting this guy, not that guy.
Paying him off to reduce
why is this guy getting these? Why is the liar getting all the promoting and no one's getting anything from this show? Right? It's like YouTube doesn't give a fuck about you either. It's almost like YouTube wants this narrative to proliferate and to just infect every single fucking brain on the planet. This guy with his over 1 million subscribers on YouTube and me shut down at 25,000, losing subscribers every day. You're only going to get the truth here. You're going to get nothing but a liar, a fat fucking cunt liar with his 2 fucking cunt buddies there to back him up and be little cunt liars too. That's all you're going to get from that show. It's amazing how many people still choose this moron over me. But, you know, go there for the narrative. Go there to satisfy whatever it is that you can't seem to rectify in your own fucking brain. You can't seem to fix your little bullshit, your misperception of reality. So, and this guy fulfills that for you. This guy increases that for you. So go ahead, you little fucking misinformants. Go ahead and soak up the fucking lies. I got nothing else for you, man. I mean, that whole ocean thing, man, that's the death blow to his whole argument. Who cares what this one study said about the air temperature versus ground temperature? Look at the ocean, Jimmy. Oh, you're not going to look at the ocean, are you? You're not going to look at the dead coral off the reef of Florida, off the coast of Florida.
When we was talking about crops not owing livestock dying off from heat, and it's happening now. Maybe a little slower than we all thought, but it's happening.
A little slower. It'll catch up, though. It'll catch up because of global climate feedback loops. It'll catch up. We were gonna make another point when James came in about the ocean. James, thank you for that. I had that point in my mind before I started the show, and I forgot to mention it. It's not just that. It's not just that, but that is, like I said, that's the death blow to Jimmy's stupid fucking argument. Okay, what about the oceans getting hotter? Are you looking at that? Since you think they're lying about the heat outside, Jimmy, that you can just go outside and feel for yourself? Or do you never go outside, you fucking, what do you call people, you fucking recluse? I was like, what do you call people that never go outside?
But you want me to change my lifestyle first? I'm going to say F you. I will start doing things to fight climate change the way the establishment wants me to when they first start shutting down, 100 or 200 military bases that they have around the world. Until then, you're full of shit, and you're using climate change to...
That's a really good point, and this is where Jimmy and I can just completely come together. He's right. He's 100% right. I hate the fact that my tax dollars, that his tax dollars, go to a stupid fucking war in Ukraine. We shouldn't be fighting. We need to be sitting down and talking with Putin. And working it out. Ceasefire so we can talk. Stop sending all this fucking money to Ukraine. Start fixing all of our other issues that we have here. Hey man, let's cut this fucking head off the snake. Who needs all this fucking military shit all around the world? It's like Jimmy said, how much CO2 does the military produce? Even when we're not at war? For training! Oh, for training! We need to train and be prepared! Why don't you sit down at the fucking table and train how to fucking talk out your problems, you fucking cunts? How about that? Fuck you. All of you. You know, not just the United States military, but all the militaries from around the world. Fuck all you fucking cunts. Because of you cunts, we can't have nice things. As peace-loving individuals, we can't have nice things. Fuck you fucking militaries all around the world. Fuck you. You've ruined it for everybody. It's like you never watched a movie that tried to explain to you how bad war is. You fucking idiots. You know, when I think about the Terminator and all these people that, whoa, AI, we got to work on AI and robotics and fucking this and that and the other and fucking, did you not watch Terminator? You think that shit ain't gonna happen? It's already fucking happening. Turn on the news, man. You should have seen what they were talking about today. Fucking AI just totally imitating somebody's voice, calling up somebody's mom, saying, "Oh, so they're over here in the hospital and they need you right now." Blah blah blah. And they get in their car and drive off.
We need to keep our money here. Period. They have always sent billions for military. All the time enough to end world hunt 10 times over.
Right, James Simon is making a lot of sense today. James Simon, I've got to say to you, James Simon, thank you for all of the input that you've been putting into the chat today. It means so much, you know, and you've helped out this conversation immensely. You turned me on to the ocean temperatures, bro, and that was the most important point I needed to make on this conversation today. Was ocean temperatures. Have nothing to do with what Jimmy's talking about. Dying coral reefs have nothing to do with what Jimmy's talking about. And the fact that when those coral reefs go, fish go, and the ecosystem starts collapsing down there. How much food does the world use from the ocean? I don't know. But I'm going to go grab
Trendy Nick.
A dish of grapes.
Chain reaction.
Yes. I'm going to grab a dish of grapes, and I will be right back. Listen to this while I'm
control me. And I'm going to tell you, here's another thing. They're not going to stop burning oil until there's no more oil in the ground. So this idea that we can fight climate change, I think is a loser. We're not doing anything to fight climate change. They're not. They're making up this pretend stuff. Oh, goal 2030 or whatever. They're 2050. We got to have a. They're gonna burn every last barrel of oil. You and I know it. They just stopped putting windmills off in the ocean because of inflation. They can't. It's not economical anymore. So they're not doing it anymore. That's all over. The windmills in the ocean. They're all gone. They're all done. I just read an article today about it.
So they blew up Nord Stream. That the biggest. If you put that much greenhouse gas, I didn't know that's the biggest ever by man in
ever.
One shot.
In one shot. So and those are the same people who are telling me we have to do things to. They have to shut down Dutch farms. We have to kill 200,000 cows. Those are the people telling us that we have to shut down family farms. I don't believe them. And so I'm not going to do. And by the way, you know when you recycle, you know where that recycling goes? It goes into a landfill. But we still have a separate recycling truck come to our house.
Some of them, okay. So I used to work in recycling, okay? So the only very specific bottles, there's a specific kind that does.
Even now they don't.
Well, those ones are now mostly collected by homeless people, okay?
Uh-huh.
My ex-girlfriend still recycled just because she knew people would pick out the ones. They could recycle all of it. It's not profitable. That's the reason they don't do all of it.
That's right. It's not profitable. Well, we used to send most of our recyclables to China. China stopped taking our recyclables, and so they just started putting them right in the landfill.
While we were going, how come China gets to be as big a polluter as they want?
So I think that it would be better use of our brain power to try to mitigate the effects of climate change, because it seems like it's not going to stop. I know they're
I totally agree
James
with what
Simon.
I totally agree with what Jimmy's
Sea
saying right now.
provided 17 to 25% of the world's meat. Some countries is higher than others.
I totally agree with what Jimmy is saying right now. The conclusion that he's reaching is the same conclusion I have.
They're not going to shut down 1,000 military bases. They're never going to stop blowing up pipelines. They're never going to stop having their wars.
It's not you not eating meat. It's not you eating bugs. It's the fucking military rolling tanks across and flying jets and helicopters and all the shit the military does and exploding ordnance, for training. It's fucking pumping CO2, on these battleships and the fucking submarines and all the bullshit. Well, I guess the nuclear submarines don't produce any CO2, but everything else does, man.
So I think we should put our brain power into hey, how do we by the way, why can I still get a 30-year mortgage on beachfront property in Miami? That doesn't make sense. Also, why is there more coral reef now than there were 10, 15 years ago?
That's not true.
I thought it was supposed to all be gone.
So
what is he talking about? Where did he get that little fucking tidbit of information from? There's more coral reef now than there ever was before. Jimmy Dore literally just said that, everybody. Who believes Jimmy Dore right now? You guys believe that? That is so cringe, man. Holy shit.
Did you see somebody saying that might not be what that is? I glanced at it.
Oh, okay, so
There's some argument against, I know that.
Oh, okay,
But
so
I'm not
scratch
sure.
that.
Boom. Yeah, okay. I didn't get this far into the video. This is very interesting, and now he's got to retract himself. And it's very rare that Jimmy does this. Kurt Metzger was the one that said it to Jimmy. Jimmy took it, misinterpreted, I guess, what Kurt told him, and Kurt's now, correcting him, and Jimmy is doing a retraction live. I'm impressed. This is growth right here, guys.
Look, we're gonna check the veracity of that coral reef story.
Wow, dude. Wow. Good for you, Jimmy. I don't like you, but I'm gonna give you full credit and Kurt for fact checking yourselves live instead of just like
James
you
Simon.
always do, repeating
We live
bullshit.
45 minutes from Fort Campbell, and there has been helicopters like 15 to 25 every day flying around doing training exercises, and they're Thursday big Chinook helicopters too.
It's training. It's so important. It's training. We gotta train. We gotta train to go to war. We gotta go train. It's so important to train. Dude, I'm so impressed with what Kurt and Jimmy just did right now. This is landmark fact-checking on the Jimmy Dore Show, and I will give them credit for doing it. They should do this more often. Wow.
So scratch that.
It shouldn't be this hard to get reliable information.
Why is it so hard?
Okay,
Just like it
then
was.
I'll give you the right information. The coral reefs are bleaching. They're dying. They're the worst state than they've ever been. It's not getting any better. And the hotter the water gets, the more coral reefs will die. And that's what's going on right now. The oceans are hotter now than they've ever been. So the coral is dying. Just like the cacti are dying. Am I saying that right? The cacti, or am I supposed to say cactuses, are dying in the heat in the Midwest. Is happening right now. Okay? There's a reason for that. These are, and those cacti, those support the fucking ground too, man. They help cut winds down and help with water drainage and all kinds of shit. And when that goes away, you're going to have way more problems. It's all going to be cumulative.
It's always so hard to get. What was the death rate from COVID? Couldn't get it. They always made it up. We find out it's infant.
Hey, the last time I asked this on the live show, everybody who responded said they knew someone who had died from COVID. I do. I know someone who died from COVID or because of COVID. Absolutely. I know people. So when he talks about the numbers, dude, it affected all of us individually, man. So don't tell me the numbers were low, bitch. Fucking A, man. You're just so far off base. Who fucking cares if the numbers were expanded or not? It affected all of us individually, man. My mom got more sick than she's ever been, and she's elderly, man. She got more
James
sick than she's
Simon.
ever been in her entire life.
I know
she told
5
me,
people,
from fucking
personally,
COVID.
died.
There you go, man. Just one person knows 5 people who died right here in my chat, man. And there's only 10 people in the chat. So fucking, why don't you ask your audience that question, Jimmy? You fucking dumb dick. There you go again with your stupid misinformation. Why hit play? Nothing happened. I'm sorry.
Infinitesimally low.
They take the same approach to any
wants to
kind
do
of
a
thing
dab?
like
Do
this.
dab? Can
Any
it do
science
dab?
thing. The
wants to
media
do a dab?
always takes the most wrong, sensational approach, and they see no problem with it. So remember the God particle? And the actual guy discovers, like, please stop, I never should have said that.
Yeah, I know.
Wants to do a dab?
Yeah. So, what they're doing when you lie about climate science, like they just
like
did,
you do,
about masks.
It makes people not trust you, and you're gonna and now,
wow, Jimmy, wow. Let's hear that again.
And so, Mike, it makes people not. They're doing when you lie about climate science, like they just did.
It's like lying about masks.
It makes people not trust you. What they're doing when you lie about climate science, like they just did.
It's like lying about masks.
It makes people not trust you. Yeah. So, what they're doing when you lie about climate science, like they just did.
It's like lying about masks.
It makes people not
What's
trust
the lie
you,
about masks, you fucking idiot?
Lie about climate science. What they're doing when you lie about climate science, like they just did.
It's like lying about masks.
It makes people not trust you. They're doing when you lie about climate science, like they just did.
It's like lying about masks.
It makes people not trust you, and you're gonna and now no.
Wow, it makes me when you lie about climate science, it makes people not trust you. Really, Jimmy? You might want to look into that and listen to Kurt in the background. Lie about masks. Really, Kurt? What's the lie about masks? Do masks not work at all? Do they not slow down the pandemic? I'm just kind of curious, Kurt. Lie about masks. Yeah, fucking, I'm an idiot too. Oh, look at me, I'm a fucking idiot too. Look, I can sound like a right winger too. Oh, look at me. Yeah, I might be a little too harsh. I might be a little too offensive. You know, you were a former friend of Jimmy's, and you
James Simon. I have a feeling he is only saying what they want him to say. Paid off.
You might think that I'm a little over the top and hyperbolic about
Billy Bong Thornton. I want a dab. I want one.
I'll be doing a dab here real soon. But I'm here to correct you and let you know something. The amount of anger that you hear out of me is well-deserved and hard-earned and shouldn't make you feel uncomfortable at all.
Billy Bong Thornton.
I shouldn't have to
I'm a minute
apologize
behind fast
to
forward.
anyone for the fact that I've got 25,000 subscribers and he's got over 1 million. You know? I'm bitter and I got every right to fucking be bitter about it. And he's part of my fucking problem. He's part of my fucking problem. This fucking misinformation, this cunt keeps
That's
putting
bad
out
to
there.
do. And so my question, if everything is as horrible as they say climate-wise, why do you have to lie about it then?
Because you're stupid and you have to be scared. That's what you do.
No,
to
it's
stupid
because of
peasants.
misinformants
Be scared
like
and do
you,
what
Jimmy,
want.
who are constantly pushing against the reality of it, and then they push back with their hyperbolic bullshit too. It's because of cunts like you, Jimmy, that question the actual, the provable science. It's because of cunts like you, Jimmy. It really is. You create your own problem. The thing that you're sitting here, you don't realize is that you are literally the source of your own misery. You fucking idiot.
Didn't everybody notice we're in feudal times? This is feudalism we live in.
I just don't.
Okay.
So
at 1 hour
that's
into
really
this
dumb.
video,
if you
we are
really
doing a
care
dab.
about fighting climate change and you lie about the science of it to bolster your point.
You lie about the
that's dumb,
science of
because
everything
now
to bolster your point,
you're
Jimmy.
the boy who cried wolf, and so we
You're
can
the
show
boy who
that,
cried
just
wolf,
like
Jimmy.
Al Gore said there wouldn't be any polar.
This is so projecting right now. It is. Jimmy is literally the pot calling the kettle black right now, and it is hilarious. It is delightful. Wow, I got to take it back and listen to it all over again. From the Kurt Metzger mask comment. Cheers. No law regarding cannabis.
What they're doing
Dabs
when you
up,
lie
son.
about climate science, like they just did,
It's like lying about masks.
it makes people not trust you, and you're gonna and now no. That's bad to do. And so my question, if everything is as horrible as they say climate-wise, why do you have to lie about it then?
Because you're stupid and you have to be scared. That's what you do with stupid peasants.
Who's in hell?
You scare them into what you want.
Cheers.
Didn't everybody notice we're in feudal times? This is feudalism we live in.
I just don't. So that's really dumb. If you really care about fighting climate change and you lie about the science of it to bolster your point, that's dumb, because now you're the boy who cried wolf. And so we've been showing that. Just like Al Gore said there wouldn't be any polar ice at the polar caps in the summer starting in 2013.
No, he just misrepresented some data.
No, he just lied.
No, you can't see the future, Jimmy. He got the date wrong. That's all. It's still happening. You don't think that shit's going to happen, Jimmy? You fucking idiot.
Just like that. Just like Greta Thunberg saying if we don't stop in 5 years, we're doomed. All that stuff. This doesn't help.
Wait, you're saying a girl with a disability who didn't go to school?
Yes.
Her word's not helping.
That's
Okay.
right. So because of Russiagate and because of COVID and because of all this, I catch them lying now about climate.
You did. It seems
I
like,
don't trust what the establishment.
It seems like, it wasn't you that caught him. It was some dude named Robin fucking whatever that's, determined that they've changed the way that they collect the data. If it was questionable, why would they tell people that they changed the way they collected the data? That's another question you didn't want to answer. You guys catch that?
Says about climate change, and I'm certainly not going to take any measures to try to combat it that the establishment tells me to, but the establishment continues to open
James
military
Simon.
bases. They just
I
opened
get
3
what's going
military
on
bases
now.
in the
I
Philippines
think they're
this year,
making
and they
people
just
feel
opened
safe
one
so
in
people
Syria.
don't panic and buy up everything and hoard food, medicine, and ammo.
You think there's like this concerted effort across all industries and politicians? Come on, dude. That's a conspiracy theory.
Country we're
That's
occupying.
hilarious.
So why? So we can extract the oil. And those are the same people telling me we should be afraid of climate change. I don't believe those people.
Well, I got great news for you, Jimmy. You don't get a choice. You'll eat those bugs.
Come see our live shows. We're going to be in Chicago.
That's it.
Billy Bong Thornton. Jimmy doesn't do these speeches at his comedy show, does he? LOL, I hope not.
Yeah, he does. His show is basically doing his live show on a stage. So he talks about all the same kind of stuff. Dude, that last tab I did. Forget about it. Psst. Majority Report calls out Destiny. What were we going to talk about, guys? There's something else. What's the title? Jimmy Dore uses one tweet. There's something else. Wait. There's something else going on. and I have to remember what it is. Something in the news? Something that just happened? Not about what Jimmy Dore's talking about, not about the climate. There was something I was going to discuss. I was like, yeah, I got to talk about that. My brain is a blank slate of dab tranquility. I shall have
James Simon. About the government said there was evidence of aliens.
Oh, that's right! James, you're awesome! Oh my god, you're hired. Yes! UFOs.
Is there any indication that these UAPs are interested in our nuclear technology and capabilities?
Yes. By external observation, sure, that could be a fair assessment, yeah. Yes.
Oh my god.
Is there any indication that the Department of Energy is involved in UAP data collection and housing?
I don't have an answer. I can't confirm or deny that in a public setting.
And
No.
could you do it in a secure setting?
This is so
Yes.
stupid.
Mr. Fravor.
No, I don't know.
Mr. Chairman,
This is so
you know,
stupid.
I think I'm the last member to go, but
We are all dumber
there
now.
clearly is a threat
Welcome
to the
to
national
We're All
security
Dumber
of
Now
the
with
United
Nay.
States of America. As members of Congress, we have a responsibility to maintain oversight and be aware of these activities so that, if appropriate, we take action. I would encourage the chairman to demand that we have any and all, but in particular Mr. Grush, talk to us in a skiff. And if that access is
Mateo,
denied,
yes.
I will
Are we
personally
alone?
volunteer to initiate the Holman Rule against any personnel or any program or any agency that denies access
What's
to
up,
Congress.
Mateo?
Mr. Chairman, with that, I will yield the remainder of my time to my fellow colleague from Tennessee, Mr. Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Ogles, for the great questions, brother. Mr. Grush, I might have asked this before, but I want to make sure. Do you have any personal knowledge of someone who's possibly been injured working on legacy UAP reverse engineering?
It's too high.
Yes.
Okay. How were they injured? Is it something like a radioactive type situation or something we didn't understand? I've heard people talk about the Havana syndrome type incidences. What was your recollection of that?
I can't get into specifics, but you could imagine assessing an unknown unknown. There's a lot of potentialities you can't fully prepare for.
How do you think we ought to handle UAP whistleblower complaints like yours in the future?
Yeah, there was some issue with mine. So, PPD 19 process, it goes to the Intel committees, either through PPD 19 or ICD 120. There's not a good way for the Intelligence Community Inspector General to provide that to other committees. And I asked my information to be sent to the House and Senate Armed Services Committee because there are Title X equities at play, but there was no smooth process to do so. Yeah.
That's a trash can. Are you aware of any individuals that are participating in reverse engineering programs for non-terrestrial
All a
craft?
trash can.
Personally, yes.
Do you know any that would be willing to testify if there were protections for them?
Certainly closed door and assurances that breaking their NDA, they're not going to get administratively
Billy
punished.
Von
So,
Thornton.
Yeah.
I yield.
WTF. He testifies aliens are real but can't go into specifics.
Out of the ordinary.
Skim, skim,
Those
scam.
We're going
people
to
who
give three
reverse
people a
engineer
chance at an
UFOs.
additional 3
You just
minutes.
said.
So, Mr. Burchett, do you want to keep going?
Why don't you come back to me, Mr. Chairman? Miss Luna, if is she on that list?
Gravity Drive. Got
Sure.
Gravity Drive.
Chairman, I'd like to submit for the record an article by News Nation, and it follows Mr. Grush's full interview for the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. Mr. Grush, why is it that you refer
Stephen
to the
running.
phenomenon as
Maybe they can
non-human
help gas
intelligence? Why
prices.
deviate from the basis of extraterrestrial life?
I think the phenomenon is very complex, and I like to leave an open mind analytically to specific origin.
When you say specific origin, are you referring, can you elaborate on that for those that might?
If it's a traditional extraterrestrial origin or something else that we don't quite understand from either a biological or astrophysics perspective. Yeah, I just like to keep an open mind on what it could be. Yeah.
Okay, and referring to your News Nation interview, you had referenced specific treaties between governments. Article 3 of the Nuclear Arms Treaty with Russia identifies UAPs. It specifically mentions them. To your knowledge, are there safety measures in place with foreign governments or other superpowers to avoid an escalatory situation in the event that a UAP malevolent event occurs?
Yeah, you're referring to actual public treaty in the UN Register. It's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, the Agreement on Measures to Reduce the Risk of Outbreak of Nuclear War signed in 1971. Unclassified treaty, publicly available. And if you cite the George Washington University National Security Archives, you will find the declassified in 2013 specific provisions in the specific red line flash message traffic with the specific codes pursuant to Article 3 and Article, also Situation 2, which is in the previously classified NSA archive. What I would recommend, and I tried to get access, but I got a wall of silence at the White House, was those specific incidents when those message traffic was used. I think some scholarship on that would open the door to a further investigation using those publicly available information.
Thank you. And then my last question with 51 seconds remaining. You mentioned white-collar crimes potentially being taking place in regards to a cover-up. Can you please elaborate?
I have concerns based on the interviews I conducted under my official duties of potential violations of the Federal Acquisition Regulations, the FAR.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I yield the remainder of my time.
Okay, we'll go to Mr. Raskin for 3 minutes.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and I thank the witnesses for their endurance and service today. Mr. Fravor, you've described your episode in detail now, and you call it the most credible UFO sighting in history. But I wonder, was this the first time that you encountered a UFO or a UAP in 2004?
Yes.
And what was your general attitude or perspective on the UFO discussion before that happened?
I never felt that we were alone with all the planets out there, but I wasn't a UFO person. I wasn't watching History Channel and MUFON and all that.
And have you had experiences or encounters since that happened?
No.
And so have you formed any general conclusions about what you think you experienced then?
Yes. I think what we experienced was, like I said, well beyond the material science and the capabilities that we had at the time, that we have currently, or that we're going to have in the next 10 to 20 years.
Very good. Mr. Grush, you've been able to answer in great detail on certain questions, and then other things you say you're not able to respond to. Can you just explain where you're drawing the line and what's the basis for that?
Yeah, based on my DOPSR security review and what they've determined that is unclassified.
I see. So you're answering any questions that just call upon your knowledge of unclassified questions, but anything that relates to classified matters you're not commenting on in this context.
In an open session, but happy to participate in a closed session at the right level, yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Graves, you've said that there are dozens of fellow pilots, military pilots. Are there also commercial pilots who've encountered... He
doesn't want to incriminate himself on camera.
The same kind of sightings that you described before.
They are similar. Commercial pilots have less range and less sensors to be able to reach out and look for objects over wide swaths of airspace. And so pilots are seeing them, commercial pilots are seeing them, and they're typically closer, and the range of what they're seeing is pretty large.
What is the most vivid, concrete sighting with the naked eye of the objects that you described before, the cube-like objects?
Certainly. I think the most vivid sighting of that would have been near a near midair that we had at the entrance to our working area. One of these objects was completely stationary at the exact entrance to our working areas, not only geographically but also at altitude. So it was right where all the jets are going, essentially on the eastern seaboard. The two aircraft flew within about 50 feet of the object, and that was a very close visual sighting.
And you were in one of the aircraft?
I was not. I was there when the pilot landed. He canceled the mission after, and I was there. He was in the ready room with all his gear on, with his mouth open. And I asked him what the problem was, and he said he almost hit one of those darn things.
He said he was 50 feet away from it?
That's cool.
And his description of the object was consistent with the description you gave us before?
A dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere.
Inside of a clear sphere?
Yes.
A good place to take off.
And with no self-evident propulsion system?
No wings, no IR energy coming off of the vehicle, nothing tethering it to the ground. And that was primarily what we were experiencing out there.
I'm over time. Thank you very much for your service, and I yield back to Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Mr. Burchett?
Thought he was going to be a little
Thank
bit
you,
more.
Mr. Chairman. This is for all three of y'all, starting with Mr. Graves. Why did you come forward on this issue?
I came forward because I felt that my colleagues did not have a way to mitigate this safety threat, and I wanted to help them. I was trained as an aviation safety officer by the Navy, and this seemed, it just felt right. I felt like I had to help the folks that were still flying and dealing with this.
Mr. Grush?
Purely a sense of duty. I first swore an oath when I was a cadet 18 years ago, and I still uphold that even out of the uniform.
Commander?
I was pestered by a friend, and I asked why, and he said, "You're the one person that they can't discredit, and you'll add credibility to the New York Times article." And so after about 6 times, I said, "Okay."
Honest.
Yeah. This town isn't made, unfortunately, by people like y'all. We thank y'all. And I do want to also thank the people in the audience and the people that are watching this that can't be, people all over the world that have kept this issue alive. You've endured criticism and derogatory remarks, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it. So God bless y'all. Thank y'all so much. We really appreciate you guys and gals. That's why we need term limits. Y'all keep clapping, us politicians just keep talking. So,
Giving them credit.
let me ask y'all, how can the public contribute to UAP reporting, and what avenues you think are available to the public to report
How
these
about
sightings?
taking out a cell phone and taking a
Well,
picture
right now, I
of
don't
one?
think there is a lot of
fucking
public
idiots.
options for every man to be able to report on this. I think even for professionals that have sensor data that are seeing these on a regular basis, they're still hesitant to come forward. And so for the general public, I think encouraging the conversations that we're having today, looking for technology solutions that can be distributed so that objective data can be gathered is the first place to go.
Mr. Grush?
I'll just touch on the whistleblower side of it. I do encourage, current, former military, intelligence community, and industry contractors to come forward in a legal way, either through the IC or DoD or whatever the cognizant IGs are, to join me in this discussion.
Commander, and I guess I should say this for the record. My daddy was United States Marine Corps, 1st Marine Division.
Okay, shut the fuck up, dude. Fucking idiots. All right, man. So there ain't no goddamn aliens visiting here and fucking inspecting our goddamn nuclear whatever the fuck. So, our bases and shit. And we shouldn't even have those fucking, like Jimmy Dore said, we shouldn't even have those fucking military bases. We shouldn't even have all this fucking military. None of these other countries should. What we all should be doing is sitting down talking about how we can all dissolve all of our militaries at the same time. Get rid of our nukes, get rid of all this technology. You fucking idiots are doing nothing but increasing technology and sending it off to places like North Korea. Fucking China's, doing whatever the fuck they can invent over there. Who knows? I don't know. But we're a bunch of fucking idiots is my point. And sadly, that's what we have to deal with. Listen, I hope you guys had fun. I will see you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed the information. And you can follow me on Threads at Nays Garden Show. Download the app from your phone. It's called Threads in the Play Store, and then just look for Nays Garden Show. I got like 100 followers. All right, you guys take care. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.